Hello my fellow smug ones, I hope you're all okay. Well, it's looking like the BBC is admitting defeat, isn't it? Let's begin. Okay, as many of you will know, I don't actually have an upload schedule, so the best way to view my videos as soon as I put them online is by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell. Okay, this story is from The Express and it says, BBC admits defeat. Plan to prosecute OAPs abandoned after licence fee backlash. This is some good news, isn't it? The BBC has suspended its threat to prosecute people aged over 75 for refusing to pay for a TV licence in a major victory for pensioners. And that's because they're just realising that prosecuting people over 75 is not a really good look publicly, is it? The Broadcasting Corporation previously sparked anger after ending licences for people aged 75 last August, except if they are receiving pension credit. According to the latest BBC figures, 2.7 million over 75s have now paid a TV licence, and another 750,000 have applied for free licences as a result of being on pension credits. But there's still a lot who haven't paid and are not going to pay BBC. And it doesn't matter if you just extend the deadline for them to pay, they're not going to pay, are they? Whether you like it or not, I'm afraid, you're going to have to adjust your funding model. Those who did not apply were sent a letter by the BBC with the threat they would face up to £1,000 fine and potential prosecution if they continue to watch live television without paying up. And can you imagine how that must have felt for those poor people? They've probably had a free TV licence for 5, 10, some maybe even 15 years, and to suddenly get a letter landing on their doorstep saying that they'll now be getting £1,000 fine for doing something they love unless they pay a certain amount. That must have been absolutely horrible for them, and the BBC should be extremely ashamed of themselves. However, the BBC has now made a huge climb down by admitting almost 700,000 pensioners who did not respond to their letter will not face a court appearance and are legally still covered. So let me get this straight, BBC. First of all, you send them a letter saying you're going to fine them £1,000. And now you're saying to them that don't worry about that, you'll be fine. So how do you expect them to believe your next letter when you then go tell them that they then have to pay again? Think about it, BBC. Just end the licence and just go to adverts. That's all you've got to do just to sort all of this out. The BBC said, in light of ongoing challenges to many of our customers caused by the coronavirus, we're giving older people a bit more time to make arrangements for their next licence. We are writing to customers to reassure them of this. The letter explains that customers who previously held a free over 75 TV licence up to 31st of July 2020 are legally still covered. So that must mean they never actually ended the licence, doesn't it? So it just goes to show that all of this was just a big threat by the BBC. So how can they expect to be taken seriously? At all. We are giving them time to arrange payment for a licence or claim a free one. The BBC also admitted that it has not cancelled any licences for the over 75 since the scheme began last year. The letter, which sparked outrage, had said, we will cancel your licence if you do not reply to our letter within 2 months of receiving it. And that would have really caused a lot of stress to a lot of over 75s because many of them rely on their relatives to sort these sort of things out for them. But obviously with the coronavirus pandemic going about, people wouldn't have been able to see them, would they? So the over 75s would have had that letter sitting there and probably been worrying about it. And shall I even turn the TV on? And a lot of them depend on the TV for company, don't they? This was really bad of the BBC, and the fact that they are now admitting to this and extending the payments terms shows that they are not serious at all in taking the 75s to court. And I'm really glad about that because it would have been really horrible for the over 75s, wouldn't it? Also, it would have been a really bad look for the BBC, wouldn't it? And just showed exactly how they are, in my opinion. It's resulted in Lord Ian Botham writing to BBC Director General Tim Davie to urge people not to be prosecuted for failing to pay the TV licence fee. And I'm really glad a celebrity actually went against the BBC on this one. Quite often you'll see celebrities like Gary Lineker who always seem to side with the BBC. So this is really good that we're finally getting celebrities on our side as well. The retired cricketer said in his letter, in my view, this is institutional bullying on a massive scale and there seems to be some kind of blame game between the BBC and the government. I'm no politician, but it feels like a real scandal affecting a very frail that needs sorting out. And he's right, isn't he? The BBC and the government do need to sort this out. And I think the government in 2027, when the BBC's Royal Charter protection ends, I think they will hopefully finally start to either make the BBC go to adverts or possibly a subscription route. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I don't think it will. There'll be some sort of time scale, but I'm hoping that's the way it will go. Even if they just force the BBC to go down the route where they make the TV licence just cover only the BBC and BBC iPlayer, and that way we'd be free to watch anything else we like. I'd settle for that. I think that would be fine for the time being, at least. Dennis Reed, director of Silver Voices, a group calling for free TV licence fees to be reinstated to the over 75s, said the BBC's backtrack was welcomed. But he added the fee still needed to be stopped, and hopefully it will soon, Dennis. Hopefully it's just a few more years to wait. He said, "This change is news to us. Hundreds of thousands of elderly people are now given the amnesty until the end of the pandemic. We hope it gives the BBC and the government the breathing space to rethink this terrible policy." And I've got a feeling that it's going to be scrapped entirely. I'm thinking that the BBC will magically find some other way of funding. Perhaps they'll stop their biscuit allowance for the month or something. Who knows? But I think they'll come up with some sort of alternative funding and probably try to paint themselves out to be the heroes for giving the over 75s their free TV licences back. The current situation is untenable. They cannot enforce the licence fee on hundreds of thousands of over 75s who are increasingly determined, the more reminders they get, not to pay. And he's right there. I think the more the BBC try and enforce this on people and put letters through people's doors demanding money, the more people will stand up and say, no, we're not doing it. And it looks like them taking a stand is actually making a difference, doesn't it? Which is really good news. We welcome this decision. The policy was a disaster from the start and remains a disaster. And in my opinion, it will always be a disaster. It comes after the BBC also recently came under fire after the government said last week that the annual licence fee would increase from £157.50 to £159 from April the 1st, 2021, with black and white licences raising from £53 to £53.50. And although they may seem like small increases over the year, in my opinion, we shouldn't even be paying that money to start off with. And it's still twice as much as the base packs of Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, isn't it? The BBC said in response that it was sticking to its requirement that anyone applying for a licence must backdate it to August 2020. Well, I'm sorry, BBC, but I don't think that many people are going to apply for a licence now, are they? They've seen that you're just going to cave in on the issue, which is the right thing to do. You should have never enforced this charge on the over 75s, in my opinion. A BBC spokesman told The Telegraph, "In light of the pandemic, we have revised our timings for considering cancellation, and we have written to customers who have yet made arrangements to reassure them that they have been given more time to set up and they are still covered." That's because BBC, you know that they're not going to give in. They're not going to just fork out £160, which is quite a lot of money for people to find, especially some pensioners. So I don't think they're going to give in at all, BBC. A BBC spokesman told express.co.uk, "There is no amnesty, nor have we announced any new policy. We are simply giving people more time to safely set up their licences in light of the pandemic." Well, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking that in about another 6 months, another 7 months, they'll probably come up with this new policy which says, actually, we're going to scrap the whole lot entirely, because they are going to see that these are just not going to pay like a lot of us. I'm not going to pay your licence. I haven't paid it since March last year. And a lot of other people are also in that boat as well. And the more time goes on, the more people will not pay your licence, BBC. You need to go to adverts or subscription route. It's the 21st century, not the 20th. And it's time you realised that. Anyway, let me know what you think. Here are some of my other videos for you to watch next. If you're a legend, click that like button down there. It really does help me out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.